In life, every time we establish communion, we have the opportunity to grow as people. Because it is in communion that we strengthen ourselves when you identify that you are not alone. It is interesting because human maturity, this natural and necessary process of becoming adult, to be able to understand life, the pains of existence, without causing so much annoyance. The natural process of being people will teach us that when we share pain or joy, we approach the deepest meaning of these realities. Because sharing reveals what is hidden, or even time itself. It will help us make this sharing increasingly revealing. And that is why it is important to be in communion. And all the time, human effort is to establish communion. When we want to love and be loved, this is communion. When we want to have friends, when we want company, even if it is to go to the movies, this is communion. Decreases orphanage. It decreases the desolation that is so natural to life. Existing is heavy. Existing is hurt. Not easy. And there are no magic formulas, no ready-made formulas that help us realize with harmony. The only way we have to exist with a little more harmony is through the maturity process. Because we know that the child is a being who doesn't like to be countered. And the child has a hard time with no. And we know that the pedagogical process is to say the no just right and at the right time. This is what will make the child be able to understand the limity. Sometimes we have this momentum, isn't it? When you were a child? This instinct of destroying the other, of wanting what is from the other. Then someone comes and educates us, isn't it? Well, you need to learn to divide. You need to learn to respect. Words such as respect, solidarity. It is only possible for those who are already mature. But it is in the process of maturing that the school helps us, parents, the people who love us, those who are truly responsible for us, will help us live this process of maturity where we position ourselves in the face of life. Is like this. I'm not someone who has to be pleased all the time. Of course, I will seek my human achievement. I want to be happy. I want to have the right to be satisfied being who I am. But to reach this satisfaction, life teaches us that we have to go through the purification process. And only this purification matures us. And those who refuse to live the process of the limit of life difficulties will not be able to be a balanced and mature person. And this is our project, isn't it? We want to take the place in the world in a harmonious way. For this, they serve religion. Religious discourse comes in to help us bring these harmonies. I always like to say that religion, when you speak the expression, the word religion, she goes far beyond temples and religious rites. We are talking about everything that touches us, everything that harmonizes us. So, is it religious to love? Is it religious to listen to a song? Is it religious to appreciate a work of art? Because these are situations that sensitize us, that touch us, and make us better. These are human realities that touch us and help us to live this process of maturity. This week I was thinking, reflecting a little. The church invites us that in Lent's time we need it is not that we just pray in Lent. No, it is that Lent is a special time of prayer, of recollection. We were talking here in last week's program that it is important to find out the difference in liturgical time. So we are living a time when the church invites us to live the collection, the fast, the prayer. But for God's sake, I cannot understand fasting, the sacrifice for themselves. There is a much larger reason hidden in my renunciation that I do. So, okay, I don't like meat on Friday, or I don't like meat, or I stopped eating chocolate for these 40 days. That's fine. Each one chooses the sacrifice they want to do, the renunciation they want to do. But the true meaning of this renunciation is to provoke within us the possibility of being better, having more opportunity to be more confident, or even having a little more possession of what we are. Because sometimes we are living in a way that we lose the ability to control ourselves. So I work there. I control myself in front of a chocolate box, and then be able to control myself in the face of more serious situations. But then what I was saying, I was thinking that what is the great secret of prayer? What does prayer do in our lives? You see, Buddhist monks have a specific way of praying. The Catholic Father has a specific way of praying. The evangelical pastor has a specific way of praying. Religions propose to us the rites, but what really is the content of this rite? When I lay the white towel on the altar for me to preside over the Eucharist, when I celebrate the Christian Catholic rite, what am I proposing? And what do I want to experience this prayer? And about that, I thought that prayer is an instrumental that puts us in a process of self-reflection. I will self-reflect. I can reflect on the other. I can reflect on the world. But prayer at first, it allows me a time-consuming look at me. Because every time I put myself before God, it is natural for me to bring to Him, to talk to Him all my realities, my selfishness, my fears, my insecurities, my virtues. And at that moment when I am before the Lord in prayer, I have the opportunity to do what the world often does not provide me, which is precisely to touch these realities of loving way. This is why I do not believe in prayer that is detached from the love process. To pray is to want the good. Have you heard that? When I pray for the other, I'm manifesting to God my desire to be a good way. It is, what? I am praying that the other has peace, that the other may be healthy, for the other to have dignity, for the other to be a child of justice, or to be within a context of justice. My want, this prayer is loving. And every time I enter this prayer process, I'm favoring myself to get a little more humble. I'm favoring myself a little more balance. Because, funny, even atheists admit it. Even atheists admit it. Even atheists admit that reflection, admit it's good. Silence. A break time. He also needs to call himself. The atheist also needs to scrutinize his human reality, because he also suffers from the same anxieties as us. So everyone needs to be reflected. Everyone needs to think. As I am being, who I am being, what place I am occupying in the world, how I am treating the people who live with me, as I treat the people I find, how I am a citizen. Today in the morning newspaper, Alexandra Garcia reflected this trickster that exists on the internet, for example. I go through a blitz and immediately tweet that there is a blitz in such a place, so that that is not able to drive, that is already drunk. He sees that information. What will he do? He will divert. Will look for another way, and this is when the accidents happen. So, Alexandra Garcia reflected this solidarity with what is bad. So I am sympathetic to rid each other's responsibility. What country is this? Is this a serious position of those who really want a fair society, or who really believes in the value of the other's life? That I have no right to drive drunk because I can kill the other's son? You already wondered if I'm an alcoholic, or if I go to a party and I'm not in a position to drive, and because I'm guided by someone who tells me where there is blitz. Where you don't, I encourage my car and get out without conditions to drive and be able to kill a family that is suddenly coming home. Do you think this fair? And the journalist reflected precisely on that. This solidarity with what is bad, with what is not moral, with what is not ethical. My people, we need to think all the time about it. Does I thicken the process queue? Am I thickening the line of those who weaken the social body? Or is I an active citizen who does what is right, even if it causes me restrictions? Okay, I have the right to go to a party, to drink a wine, but I have to know that if I chose to drink at that party, it is my obligation not to drive. Because this is maturity. You know that you have rights, and that you also have duties. This is Christianity. If I tell myself Christian, if I tell myself adept at life, if I tell myself someone who is concerned about making society better, I will live the dimension of my religiosity. and be able to promote what is right. Because sometimes, my people, we want to live the religion, but we do not want the commitments this religion brings us. And for me, this is a religious commitment. I don't know who is going out at that car moment. I don't know who drank, who didn't drink. But I want to know about me, about my stories. You can no longer want a better society if we do not fulfill our role. I don't have the right to want a better world if I don't exercise my part, if I don't realize my little part. When I leave my house, I have to go out with all the responsibilities assumed. I am a citizen. This is a religious proposal. Christianity needs to move our way of living, the choices we make. Then, yes, we are talking about a religion that can really do well, that can put us as true transformers. How is Jesus' proposal? Maturity. We all need. We are never totally mature. And there is always a step to be taken in the direction of this maturity.